Hello friends, I'm Bruno. Welcome to another exciting sketch tutorial. Today, we're gonna attempt to draw this lovely couple with a fine liner and watercolor. As usual, I've made the outline sketch and the reference image available for download. The link is located at the video description below. Let's get started. As you may know from my previous tutorials, I don't use any supporting lines in my sketches. Instead, I like to use the shape silhouette approach. With that said, I start looking for the large shapes that make up the figure, usually starting with the hair, face, and upper torso. Now I can go ahead and draw the lower torso. I'm always paying attention to the distances and angles formed by the main lines. Next, we can add the arms, taking into account the head measurement approach. The full length of the arm including the hand is about 3 heads long. Now, we can easily add the dress lines. Just use the right hand as a reference for the lower portion. For the legs and feet, we'll replicate the distance from the head to the crotch, and that gives us the lower end of the figure. Now it's just a matter of keeping an eye on the angles and distances between the key points. Needless to say, the lines should be very loose, disconnected from each other. This gives us more flexibility, and also a chance to quickly evaluate where the shape is going on the fly.
For now, we're good with the girl figure. Let's get started with the guy, following the same type of procedure.
Next we can draw the full torso shape, which is defined by his shirt. The length should be about 3.5 heads long. And now the short pants should be a very simple shape to draw. The length here should be about 3 heads long.
Next we'll draw the arms, paying attention to the angle and length, which should be about 3 heads long, including the hands.
And finally we have the lower legs and the feet. Easy silhouette, measuring about 2 heads long. Now we go back up to finalize the facial features. Keep it as simple as possible. This technique requires a bit of practice to get used to. In the beginning, I recommend using a pencil so that you may correct any eventual mistakes. As you feel more comfortable and confident, you may switch to a permanent fine liner. We can call this sketch done, and move on to the watercolor washes.
As usual, I am starting with a very light wash for the skin tone. This is a mix of yellow ochre and burnt sienna. Notice that I am intentionally leaving some areas unpainted in order to create the highlights generated by the natural light source of the scene. Just look for these brighter areas in the reference image. You can see in my palette how diluted this wash needs to be. And by the way, I am using the Canson XL mixed media paper and a cheap synthetic brush here, nothing too fancy. You can find a list of all the pigments I've used in this sketch in the video description below. Now, we're gonna paint the jeans shorts. Here I'm applying a light wash of Ultramarine Blue. For the dress, just a light mix of Sap Green. For the hair, a light mix of burnt umber. For the shirts, just a very light wash of Payne's gray. Here I am applying the paint on top of the wrinkles, which generate more shaded spots. Just a bit of burnt umber on the leather belt. And for the shoes, a stronger mix of Payne's gray. Now it's time to work on the shaded areas. If you've been following my videos, you already know that I prefer to use a cool mix of blue and purple instead of a flat gray. It brings a bit more interest to the sketch. However, be aware this wash must be very light, with much more water than pigment. I've started with a super transparent mix and added more pigment as needed. Just keep looking for the correct shading spots in the reference photo. A proper application of shading raises the sketch to the next level. It brings a sense of three-dimensionality and communicates how the light is set in the scene. Even though we cannot see any shadow below the figures on the ground, it's a nice touch to add some shading there. It grounds the figures in the scene, especially when we're not painting the background. Just a bit of shading on the hair, and we can call this one done. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. I appreciate the support and hope to see you on the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.